Good day, ladies and gentlemen, Quad Mitter Feed listeners. I'm your host, Matt to the Jack, and I'm hella hyped to bring you the third episode of the Quad Mid podcast. I'm pretty impressed we've made it to three. I didn't think we'd get to one, but here we are, 3 episodes later. The weekly thing is kind of tampered off, but you know what? The important thing is it happens rather than it doesn't happen. Can we agree on that?
Oh,
Yeah.
we can agree on
Oh,
that.
fishy, dude. All right. We've got some familiar faces back in. Kind of the staples of the cast. My boys Tad and Bailey, BK Wappa, and Wild Cucumber. How you guys doing tonight?
Excellent.
We're doing well.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Well,
And bringing in a new guest to the show, our boy Powerful Pony Ryder, or otherwise known as Ryder. Ryder, how we doing today?
Doing well, Mad Jack. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, viewers of all ages, men, women, children, whatever you are? It's a glorious day here in Mad Jack. I am honored to be on this podcast.
He just grabs the reins and goes. I love it.
Gallops into the sunset. Honestly, I feel like we can end now, guys. This has been the Quad Mid podcast. Thanks for watching. Catch us next
Thanks
week.
for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Play the music.
Hear the credits.
But yeah.
so what are we talking about next week then?
That's
And
it.
next week,
That's all
I think we're gonna talk about how our audience has skyrocketed because of that intro.
Nice.
And
Nice.
and now we have a viewer base larger than 20. It's gonna be lit.
Damn right.
It's gonna be lit.
All right, self-deprecating humor. Check. Moving into the
So,
moving into the next topic.
now, guys, main topic here. When you walk past a mirror, what do you do? Do you A, just walk past the mirror and check out the girl's butt behind you? B, do you walk past the mirror, check out the girl's butt while also hitting the good old flex pose and checking yourself out? Or
personally,
C,
I just cry. You know.
to just cry because of how damn ugly you are.
Yep, that's it.
I just avoid mirrors,
Yeah,
so
dude.
I wouldn't be in that situation.
I'm a vampire, so I can't see myself anyways.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So the answer is none of the above.
None of the above. Vampires, steaks. What?
What an interesting quiz.
Yeah.
Dude, who needs trivia when you've got these fucking quizzes, you know?
Trivia hype.
Trivia hype, indeed. But on an even more hype note, moving into the LCS world, our boy Double Lift has recently been signed to Team Liquid to a short-term contract that's going to be lasting for the duration of the spring split, but then will be terminated at the end of the said split. And people on Reddit are absolutely losing their fucking mind. I remember on the on the announcement thread that I read, the top comment that almost had more upvotes than the 14,000 of the original thread that's broke the news about Double Lift. It was literally what the fuck. That was the top comment on the thread. And so I guess to kind of break into dive into more of the situation, basically what happened is Steve, the owner of Team Liquid, approached Reggie, obviously owner of TSM, and said they're desperate. I mean, Liquid's fucking awful. There's no beating around that bush. They had to put their ADC in mid lane, and now they need an ADC. And he asked if they could borrow Double Lift, and because we'll talk about this a little bit later in the cast, but there's sort of a triad going on, and I guess Steve and Reggie are good friends. They ended up working out a deal where Double Lift, who also wanted to get back into the pro scene, is going to be playing for Team Liquid for the remainder of the spring split. And really, it's ignited a lot of tensions, I guess, on Reddit and the whole scene in general. So I guess I'll let you guys get your 2 cents on the matter and kind of weigh in on what's going on.
I guess Shaq is really like the main thing I can say. I don't think anybody could have predicted it. You know.
Yeah.
No, it's not something we're used to seeing in, I guess, traditional sports. You don't see a player going from one team to another willy-nilly.
Yeah, just like it's almost like a rent a player, you know. Here, you guys, they did it with Meteos. Darth Meteos went to P1. I believe they're going.
Yeah.
He's back on Cloud9, or at least I don't think he's on Phoenix One as of.
Well, and that one was so short term and so out of the blue as well, but it wasn't as big a deal because Meteos is a big deal. Don't get me wrong, but he's not kind of double lift for the rest of the season big deal.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, I'd agree with that.
And so when it happened with Meteos, it was just kind of like, this thing happened, and
That was
you know,
only one weekend, wasn't it? That was
No,
just like 2
exact-
games,
that-
or was it?
It's been the last 3 weeks now, but they are actually.
Okay.
But even then, 3 weeks is different than the remainder of a season.
Different season.
Mhm.
And so for me, the Meteos thing wasn't as big a deal. I mean, it was still kind of big news, but just not as big a deal as double lift going over. And that's strange in my head.
crazy.
I can't wrap my head around that.
Like when I read that, I was like, like the guy on Reddit, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
exactly.
And this is crazy because I think we're used to this framework in traditional sports where players are like at least a little more concrete. I mean, in football you won't really see it, but I guess.
Well, in between seasons they may change and they may move over, but
Yeah, exactly.
it's not in the middle of a season while things are happening. And personally, I think there needs to be some regulation there.
yeah.
I'd rather not. I'd rather have it be on a season to season basis. If you want to change your teams up for the seasons, go for it. That's what makes sports interesting. That's what makes it fun to cast and to think about what's going to happen this season. But when it's in the middle of the season, what's even going on anymore? Like
Yeah.
there's no basis to the teams and there's no interest in fairness in that sense.
And what?
And I think that
Yeah.
this is going to be a short-lived little thing, and I think that they'll try to move towards a more, I guess, for lack of a better word, fair scenario where rosters will lock up and you can't just change right in the middle.
Yeah, and I guess what people are really fired up about this is it's essentially like Operation Save Team Liquid from relegation.
Yep.
One thing I was reading through on some of the threads I was parsing through is I guess there's a sort of a LCS triad of some of the oldest organizations in the LCS being TSM, Cloud9, and Liquid with the respective owners Reggie from TSM, Steve from Liquid, and Jack from C9. I don't know, they've formed sort of like I don't want to call it a cult, but it's almost like a trinity of LCS owners where they have never done anything to go against the other ones, and anytime they can help the other owner out, they kind of have each other's backs, and I think. And so in this situation, Steve reached out, like I explained earlier. He reached out to Reggie, and Reggie is willing to essentially loan Double Lift to save them from relegation. And the reason people are getting so upset is because basically say the challenger teams who have been working for this spot are essentially, they're just essentially screwed out of something by, higher powers working to save an investment rather than just the best teams, because Double Lift isn't going to be on there long term, and so they're just saving Team Liquid's investment rather than keeping the best teams in the LCS. And I think that's really where the dilemma is coming up. And I guess, of course,
well, and no matter where Double Lift goes, Double Lift is going to get paid.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's not hurting Double Lift to go over to somewhere. So there's no real motivation for him to say no per se.
Yeah.
And so of course Double Lift is going because it's his job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it says something about the owners of the teams.
Yeah.
And like you said, Scott, trying to save an investment rather than play a fair
game
season.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about the challenger teams. That's a very good point of it's not really fair to them because they're out there, grinding just like everybody else. And for them, it's not even like about staying alive. They just want to get to have that opportunity. And,
and again, it's kind of new because this whole LCS train, or not LCS, esports train is a whole new world. And there are no rules. It's kind of the Wild West right now.
It really is.
I think the other day I was talking to some friends about how Riot isn't necessarily worried about League of Legends, the game itself. They're worried about League of Legends, the championship series, because that's where their main source of revenue is coming.
I mean, not yet. Until this year, they actually were operating LCS at a loss. But then they just signed that huge contract in between Worlds and Spring Split with, I think, Disney or something. So now they've got a lot more investment into it this split. But
Yeah,
It's
that makes
definitely
sense.
it's the future. I don't know. I guess Ryder, we've kind of had you in the back seat just because you haven't kept up with LCS as much, and that's how we've been starting our cast at least recently. But I guess how do you see esports comparing to regular sports and how it's developing?
Honestly, with today's media and the demographic of the people actually watching esports and everything, I definitely think that esports is going to be taking a much bigger turn here in the next couple of years. I think it's even shown here the LCS League Championship game actually had more viewers than the past two Super Bowls for football. I mean, it's just a statistics number. Media
I think that
is
was NBA. I
everywhere.
think
I
that was
mean,
NBA Finals, but still, that's impressive.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well, and again,
just
this is
any big sport event. I mean, anything broadcast on Twitch, any other type of gaming community, it is everywhere. I was sitting having dinner the other night, and on one of the big TVs in the restaurant, they were broadcasting League of Legends LCS games, and I'm sitting there like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
That's a good point. I don't think I've ever talked to you guys about this. I personally I never like all of my entertainment as far as like watching goes comes from YouTube and Twitch. Like I never watch, traditional TV anymore. Do you guys at all?
Nope.
we don't have it. We don't have cable.
I sometimes do.
That's an answer enough for you.
Yeah, I mean when
Movies,
yeah.
Netflix.
Netflix, Hulu,
My news
Crunchyroll,
comes
stuff like that.
boards.
I mean, if you think about it, the time of year that we're in, and with technology the way that it is, and the demographic that they're reaching out, they are hitting the perfect audience. They are hitting that college, high school age where, you know what, some of us don't have cable. We don't have money to be able to go out and spend it on that. So all we have is Hulu, Netflix, Twitch. That's what we're going to be sitting and paying our attention to. So, of course, they are shoving it down our throats. I mean, everything I scroll through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is just, Twitch streamers. Hey, I'm live. Hey, this is going on. Oh, YouTube just dropped me a new notification that this thing is going live right now.
Well, and again, with the music platforms, we had iTunes when I was a kid, and before that, they all had tapes and CDs, and that's how you got your music. Now I'm on Spotify, and I'm paying I'm not sure what Spotify's rate is, but I'm paying the membership, and now I have more music in my library than I've ever had before, and I'm not paying for the songs individually.
There goes that iTunes sponsorship.
Although
Bailey, nice label drop.
I would happily switch over to iTunes because iTunes is doing a similar thing now, and it's just the trend that
honestly superior. And sponsor us, please.
Unless Spotify does, then you guys are the best.
Yeah,
Wait, I mean, have we even thought about putting our podcast on iTunes yet? I mean, that's a possibility for us in the future, and that's just something cool to think about, with media and how it's evolving today.
Yeah.
So real quick, guys, before we get moving on here, quickly, I just want to say, you guys feeling tired? You feeling sluggish during the day? You have to go work some long hours? Drink some Monster. TM, please sponsor me.
The not so subtle super subtle product placement. Or Rockstar, we're not biased yet.
We're not discriminatory.
We're not biased. We're not biased.
If you give us
yet.
enough money, we'll probably like your drink.
Now that I think that everyone is then reassured that we're all just a bunch of sellouts.
No,
I think
we're genuine. We're real. This is real.
Yeah.
The quad.
I will tell you if I'm selling out.
But I think it's just like, and especially in your guys' cases, it's like you have to have the internet. But like, if you don't, like, why would you pay extra for cable? It's like that's just another bill, and clearly we don't have more money than we know what to do with, and it's
Sounds like a direct
and the
TV ad.
thought process in our house. The thought process in our house was, we need internet for schoolwork. We need internet for video games. We don't need cable because none of us really watch that much TV, and we're not that interested in watching.
And if anything, you just stream it anyway.
Exactly. We'll just stream it over Netflix. We can wait the year that it comes out for the season. It's not an issue anymore. It's just,
I think it's just entertainment and media evolving.
That's true.
Taking that next step. I mean, once it was radio, and then now we got TV, and
And before radio, it was books.
exactly.
And who needs fucking
Now, speaking
books
of
anymore?
radio, guys,
Says
I'm just gonna
Major.
I'm gonna
What?
throw out a quick little story here. On I Was Pure Rock 108 by Mr. James Patrick. Every morning he posts a little blog about his skits called The Daily Dumbass.
What?
It's actually quite popular here in Iowa.
Cat, it's your cat. It's your cat.
And so what today's podcast was actually a Florida man. Now, let me just say every one of these is from Florida, because I don't know if Florida just bursts idiots or freaking morons just go to Florida just to have a good time. I don't know. But anyway, it goes, a Florida man attacked a woman because she refused to have sex with him on his birthday. The man was drunk, and when he invited the woman over, she agreed to stay the night. When he asked to have sex, the woman said he'd have to wait until morning. The 38-year-old guy got angry, started cussing at her, and pushed her out the front door. Then he kicked her several times after she fell to the ground. The man was arrested with charges and battery. And that concludes your Daily Dumbass.
Wonderful.
I feel like that's shamelessly ripping off of his segment, and we're going to have to edit that out in terms of copyright.
Yeah.
We are all about genuine. We do not throw in plugins for sponsors unless we are paid. We are all about ethics here on the Quad Mid podcast, you know?
Ethics.
Yeah, because we all just rush mid, and if we don't get the kill, we feed. That's real ethical.
It is ethical.
Honestly, that's the way to win games, boys. And I think I kind of shifting gears. We got off topic, but that's so. I think we had a pretty. we had a good discussion, so I'm okay with that. Shifting gears into rushing mid and feeding. There's actually been a huge variety. Well, okay, I'm overemphasizing to build hype, but a good amount of
Can you stop that, please? We're trying to be genuine here, Scott.
fishy.
Quad Mid or Feed, your general podcast.
But there's been a lot more different champions running mid, and I know we touched it on first episode how the 5-man system.
Kha'Zix mid.
No, Bailey.
What?
No.
I don't know what you're talking about. Kha'Zix mid is totally viable.
But we touched on how the 5-man system was cool, but we still weren't seeing that champion diversity that we wanted to. But in recent games in the LCS, we've been seeing a lot more champions pop up that really hadn't been seen play forever. This is probably an isolated incident, but FlyQuest recently picked Mordekaiser Blitzcrank bot lane in professional play, and they won with it.
Yeah.
And so that's just crazy. I mean,
that's actually pretty cool because I haven't seen that since the Mordekaiser rework.
Hooray. But
and two, it's because it's Mordekaiser too, and there was some Reddit post, and I don't remember how long ago, that just some guy had found like over 160 bugs or something with the champion, or just bugs and inconsistencies, and it's like, what?
Somebody actually did a thread on that. They during the game he was played, they were able to document I think 16 of those bugs on stream.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like,
good job, right?
Right.
On one hand, I really respect the game that they've made, and I really respect all the intricate little details, and I could never, ever do what they did in their position. That being said, what the fuck, Riot?
Uh-huh.
I'll be honest, I definitely believe that the LCS teams and everything, they watched our gameplay a bullshit bot lane. We are the ones who made that.
Mordekaiser.
And they freaking took it.
See,
I'm not saying Mordekaiser and whoever, but I'm saying we just take the most toxic, stupid champions and throw them down bot lane and just run face.
I mean, normal queue that you'll get a lot of that anywhere. I've seen atrocious things in normal queue and thought, that's never going to work. That will never happen. And then they just roll off, and I sit here with my head on my keyboard because I'm playing the game as it's supposed to be played, while this other moron just completely lights off because of it. Because it's different and it's new and people don't always know how to counteract that. And so, that being said, I think that changes like Mordekaiser Blitz, bot lane, are a natural part of the game. And I think that off meta is actually a realistic way to win sometimes. In the LCS, it's not supposed to work, but hell, sometimes it does. We just saw it did.
Now, Bailey,
it did, of course.
If I remember correctly, when I was still the young whippersnapper I was playing League of Legends with you, I believe you cussed me out a couple times because I would go bullshit bot lane, and it
absolutely.
worked. And
I don't
now,
remember if I cussed you out. Oh,
I probably just told you to kill yourself,
being
but you know
said-
that's standard.
I probably did.
Yeah, that's,
just because, Ryder,
Yeah, you
I've been cussed out by other people for just not doing well in the game, period, and I try not to talk to people about League. And, I mean, that's
Or
a topic
Azir.
for a different day, but
Or is
you know
there-
what, Tad? You know what, Tad? I can just never podcast again.
Ooh, I'm
We
sorry.
can just, I
Actually-
will solely, I'll quit the podcast and I will solely work on Azir. Then I'll get nowhere, and then I'll just get sad, and then
you'll
you know,
come back
who-
to the
who knows what
podcast when we're
happens after that.
sponsored,
In
so
the
you
corner,
can get the rewards.
And I'll come back to the podcast and I'll cry about how broken and stupid Azir is.
I'm gonna grab the steering wheel here for a second and just say,
Go for it.
I do think though it's only a matter of time before they'll finally fix Mordekaiser. Because mainly the main reason I believe that is because of the Galio rework. They just spoiled with us, and they showed us his abilities now. And I don't know if he was anymore. I won't know at like one point in like season 3, he was like the least picked champion with like a straight up like 3% pick rate, and just no one touched him. And it was like that for the longest time. And now I think like in this next week, he's going to get more play than he did in the past, like how many years. And so
I personally
more-
thought Galio was coming back as far as play rate goes. Like, I had seen a lot more Galio mid than I had seen in a long time. But I'd agree with that.
maybe
He's going to fly
Maybe.
off the charts the minute he gets reworked.
And that's
Well, and the
I
same
think-
thing goes for Warwick. You saw
Yeah.
Warwick every once in a
how
while,
often
but
do
that was
you
somebody
see
who was
Warwick?
that was somebody
every
who was
time I
new to
hopped
jungle
on.
and needed somebody
Yeah.
that they could just face roll the keyboard with.
yeah.
I love
And that's the thing is with the champion diversity breaking out in LCS, and that's kind of the pivot from our last topic is will we see Galio and where will we see him? I know traditionally he's a mid laner. Definitely, I've watched some gameplay on the PBE of Galio's rework, and they definitely designed him to be a tank. A lot of people were having. I saw some jungle gameplay. I saw him mid. I feel like the way his kit works, it could work really good as a top laner. I don't know. Was his ultimate global, or did it kind of have a set range on it? Did you guys know?
I think it's a smaller range. I don't think it's quite as big as like a Pantheon ult, but that's just because the channeling into Pantheon ult is a lot longer. So
That's true.
of course you can probably go over a lot bigger distances.
yeah.
That being said, Galio's is almost just shy of instant. So that's where I'm kind of coming from with the ult. I don't think the range is as great on Galio. I think it's a little smaller.
Yeah. To kind of give you
But
guys
that being said,
yeah.
I haven't seen enough of it yet.
to give you guys some insight, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Galio rework, essentially, what his ultimate is it's kind of like a Malphite ult in the sense that it's a big impact knockup that he comes flying in, but the difference is he kind of like floats up in the air, and then he plays that generic anime ching sound, and then he flies into an ally's position and just comes in. Then he does the Malphite ult, but he cannot free cast it. It has to be on an ally's position. It's kind of like a Shen ult, except it doesn't give him a shield and whatnot.
Interesting.
The thing I compared it to, I guess I don't know how many people actually play it, but it reminded me a lot of Thor's ult from Smite, and
Well,
I doubt how
have-
many people actually played Smite, but
I've
I
played-
had
that's
like
actually a big-
Mastery
that's
10
actually-
Thor, so I was
That's
like, oh
actually
my
a big
gosh, he's
topic
back.
right now. Everybody's saying, okay, so Smite is League of Legends now, or
I hadn't
because of
seen
his
it.
ult specifically.
I mean,
Okay,
I
I hadn't seen any comparisons to that. I
I saw
think
it directly off the Riot board. It was just a couple comments, it wasn't like an outrage or an uproar or
Yeah.
anything like.
I think it'll be a very good quality of life change from, again, kind of similar to Warwick. I'm sure people will be sad to see the old kit go, but I mean, he just looks. I think he'll find a home in either the top lane or the support lane. kind of like
For
a
sure.
similar to a Nautilus role where he'll just be this big beefy CC monster in
Yep.
your face. And
No, I think he looks more like an Uber tank than he does look like
I don't
mid
think
anymore.
uh-huh.
I could see him going mid because of the ranged Q, but I just don't see it as much from the standpoint of where he used to be at.
Yeah. We'll see.
And I'm
Well, and Riot's even listing him as a tank now. So
yeah, and I guess it'll be interesting. I guess we can't really talk about gameplay that much, simply because none of us have a PVE account, and we haven't, and he hasn't come out on the live servers yet, so we can't really get our hands on him. But as far as thematics and the theme they decided to go with for Galio, from what we can tell, I don't know. What are you guys, just to kind of round this off? What are you guys'
I'm-
only thoughts on the theme of Galio? Because I think with like what they did with Warwick is, I'm assuming you all saw the cinematic trailer they did for the new Warwick rework, but that was fucking crazy. And when you get into game, like the music that plays
Feels
when
like
Warwick's
playing
near
back
you, like it
Yep.
fits so well. And like the theme, that's what I love about Riot as a company. They
well, you definitely feel like you're a werewolf on the prowl with the new werewolf rework. It's very, very cool. I agree with you 100% on that, Scott.
yeah,
And Galio's theme, I guess, for the most part, was always that he was, the gargoyle guardian, and he was like, there he was going to protect his allies. And I think too, just by seeing his abilities, I think you'll get that feel from playing him. Is it'll be, especially with his ult and stuff, you'll be in the face bashing people up.
Yep. Well, and I like the rework, and I like the ability set. I like tanks. I'm partial to tanks, but
Mhm.
so this is probably a champion I'll have a lot of playtime on. But I just don't like his design. I really don't. I think it's a little bit ugly.
that's an interesting point because I've been debating this with people as in Discord calls and Skype calls and what, or not Skype, LOL.
Fuck Skype.
Skype, you can't sponsor us, okay? That's
We don't want you.
that's where we draw the line.
Sponsors, that'd probably be okay. What? I just had the podcast in mind, guys. Come on.
But to get back on track on Galio, I've been talking about it. Everything about his I don't know, the way from pretty much from the head down, I'm okay with. Like I like the wings. I like how he's like a big buff dude, goes with the protecting theme. But his head,
I'd have to have a skin with him.
his head.
I
Okay, what
His
the
head,
fuck
I
is?
don't-
I don't like his face. Okay, it like he's got this big buff body, and it's just got his face is just like plain. He has teeth and a crown. Like what? What are you doing,
Yeah,
Ryan?
that's what I really wanted out of a Galio rework was maybe a dive back into a traditional looking gargoyle. But what we got was this weirdly polished golden-esque statue looking guy, and I don't hate it. I just don't think he looks well. I guess they're not even going for the gargoyle anymore because he's called Galio the Colossus as of now.
Yeah.
So I guess I can't really complain about.
I think too, if you look at some of his splash arts, he's like huge compared, lore wise is huge
Yeah.
compared to the average person.
Massive. That being
Yeah,
said,
yeah, well,
I
Malphite's
love
a fucking mountain.
Gatekeeper.
Like
I
literally, and one of the skins, he's just picking people like up in the palm of his hand like it's nothing.
Mhm.
And
I actually do love Gatekeeper, however. I think Gatekeeper is so well designed. And if anything, I think the new design might be focused around Gatekeeper because of how good that skin looks. That's an awesome skin. I'm just talking about his base design. I think a lot of his skins are actually really nice, though. I even like Hextech, which was one of my favorite old ones from Galio, which was
Hextech, that
literally just a patched together gargoyle and before, and now it's kind of a cool robot looking guy.
See,
with
that was the glory days of League where it's like, oh, he's a robot now, Hextech, that's our thing. And this is Green Cannon. He's from a swamp. Oh, there's a brown. I don't
The
know.
Riot
I think
Game
420
sponsor is
Blazer
not
Malphite
happening.
is still my favorite.
420 Malphite for sure.
For anybody who doesn't know, that is Shamrock Malphite. and the only difference in Shamrock Malphite is a green
He
tint,
works at McDonald's.
a green
Yeah.
tint, and a 4-leaf clover on his chest. Perfect, perfect, perfect St. Patty's Day skin.
Hype.
For myself.
But
Hype.
I guess I don't know. I guess to close out Galio, kind of to close out the Galio discussion, everything about his design. So I'm veering from Bailey's opinion here, but everything about his design I like, except his face, and like
Yeah.
basically he's like this big. He's like this big, bold, like cocky dude. Except instead of being like a Darius who's gonna dunk you, he's gonna come in and he's gonna stop you from killing his teammates. And it's
Like, hey, stop hitting yourself.
like the line here that he had in the trailer was, "I'm here, you're welcome." like, I love that theme. Like honestly, he's like Johnny Bravo, the champion. You know?
Actually, have you guys seen Moana, the new Disney movie?
Mulana.
I have not.
What is? Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
No, you.
Moana, it's the one with the rock in it.
Yes, and The Rock
Oh,
actually has a
oh.
song in it called "You're
Yep,
Welcome,"
Welcome. Uh-huh.
and it fits that perfectly because The Rock in the movie is a demigod who is said to help people, but he's cocky as all hell.
Yeah.
It just makes for an interesting character design, and I do like the Galio rework. I'm not the biggest fan of the design of the wings and the face specifically,
Yeah.
but all around good rework, Riot. Let's see how it actually works.
Yeah.
in
I like
game.
the theme. I like the void that it fills. Of this, like I said, I feel like he's Johnny Bravo, the champion. Except instead of stealing your girls, he's stealing the enemy team's potential kills on his teammates.
Exactly.
Not bad.
I think that kind of I think that's kind of transitions into our next topic, and that's kind of bridging into the new champions. And Riot's been doing a great job reworking champions and bringing new champion ideas into the game and spreading on themes. But I guess the kind of branch into our next topic. What are some kind of themes that you guys were looking to see added to the game? I remember when Ivern was added to the game. For a long time, I've been waiting to see a champion that, like a jungler, that had special interactions with the jungle camps where, I don't know, like he was a friend with them rather than somebody who just killed them for XP, you know? I guess
I thought that was a really cool addition and design.
yeah, I guess, like, my thing I wanted to see is, I was rather seeing somebody who could, like, harness the jungle camps and, like, ride in the battle with them. Personally, I wanted somebody who could empower Gromp and send him into battle, you know?
Gromp.
Right.
I mean, that's
Syndra.
play Earth Syndra and throw him around, you know? Get a Gromp.
Oh.
To me, I'd like to. It's already been done, and so I don't know. I guess how they do more of it, but for the longest time before Braum was added to the game, because I played a lot of tanks, and like I just really like Braum's design of being that human meat shield, right? And that's what he does with his E, and just the peel, and you know, he doesn't offer like anything as far as damage or wave clear go, but he's all about just keeping the ADC, keeping the team alive. And so, again, I guess they've done that, and we probably won't get another one like it for a really long time. But
I'd agree with that. That's a good design and champion. I think Braum's one of those really, really good new champions where they released him and it wasn't like, oh my god, that's so unbelievably broken.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what I want from Riot, moreover. I haven't felt... Well, okay, so when Yasuo came out, that was unbelievable. When Aurelion Sol came out, his star damage was just off the charts ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Riot releases champions, I feel like in the past, they have gone towards a route of just these champions are unbelievably overpowered at launch, and then a couple weeks later they get nerfed, and then they're pretty balanced from there on out. What I've liked recently is with the Warwick nerf, or not nerf, but Warwick rework, I actually didn't feel that it was super unbalanced and super crazy. It's super crazy because you're running all over the map like a goddamn animal, and
it was a different like play style, and no one was
Exactly.
used to it. So how do you counter something that you've never faced before?
Exactly, and I think that Riot's doing a lot better with their new champion designs, and I think personally, I think they're doing a great job with balancing issues
So
as of
then,
late.
let me ask you this: would you rather have another Yasuo release or another Talia release?
Oof. I'd rather have another Yasuo release because personally, I think Yasuo was disgusting for a while. Correct,
Yeah,
but as of
now
right
he's in
now,
a pretty good place.
I think Yasuo is probably one of the best balanced champions in the game right now. You can do really well, you can go off with him, or you can just absolutely suck dick if you don't know how to play him.
I just don't like the Talia. You know, where it's like
somewhere our boy Kevin's secretly masturbating to what Bailey just said.
Yeah, no kidding.
I just hate the fact like Talia just feels like a. I don't want to say like almost like just a wasted release because like she never had that spike in play, and now it's like Talia, who's that? Like,
Yeah.
oh, they just
Like one thing
They released a
Yeah.
champion where the ult didn't do anything but build a wall. And
and
yeah,
lucky
you
for them,
deliver
lucky for
Talia
them,
in
Trump
certain
came in.
situations.
Lucky for them, Trump
Yeah.
came in and made walls a meme, so that Talia
Yeah,
wasn't a
exactly.
complete flop. But you know,
So Talia isn't completely dead, yes.
yeah. I think I don't know. In terms of future champion releases, this is kind of something I've been thinking about for a while though. I think it'd be really cool. Riot's been doing a lot more like short stories with the lore. As far as lore goes, I think it'd be really cool if they like teased out a champion for a really long time. Like they just mentioned him and like through like lore stories and whatever, and for like a year in advance. And it's not something like with the Sombra deal that they did in Overwatch where they have like tiny little details and everybody's digging. And like they're releasing other champions along the way, obviously. But
Yep.
the like I don't know,
helmet,
well,
bro.
like
It's funny you should mention that, Scott, because that's essentially what they did with Aurelion Sol.
yeah. But
I can't remember what he used to be before Aurelion Sol.
Oh, that was
but
Ao Shin. That's that.
It was a ABC like designed by Freak or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Not
Gotcha.
designed, but like
Yeah, that's something different. But what I guess what I'm so, like I don't know. I'm looking for them to like mention like let's say that there's just for instance that's what's something that's been going on in the lore right now. There's been a lot of mentions to this thing in the void that's like and it was a lot in Aurelion Sol's lore. Is there it's referencing towards like this evil entity that's like controls all the void spawns, i.e. Vel'Koz, Kha'Zix, Malzahar, all those guys. And like Aurelion Sol sees that as like the biggest threat to the entire existence, and maybe like that maybe that'll be a release in the future. You know, maybe they are doing something like that, like something where they just do subtle references in the lore, and then they slowly build more and more. And so by the time the champion releases, people who have been following that stuff are like, "Holy shit, this all comes full circle," you know?
Well, and isn't that kind of what they did with like Jinx and Vi?
Yeah, to an extent.
a little bit. It's that, yeah.
I like the way the lore works, and I like the relationships between champions. I think that's super cool. But as far as what I want from the game in the future, I want them to continue what they're doing with skins. I see now that I'm in client. I haven't been home, and my roommates were nice enough to use my computer while I was gone and update my client.
Oh, nice.
I see that Dragon Slayer Xin Zhao and Dragon Sorcerer Zyra are out, which I think are two awesomely designed skins, and just beyond cool on both fronts. I really like those skins, and I enjoy when Riot comes out with skins and they keep champions fresh. Because let's be honest, some champions just kind of get a little old and stale tasting almost.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of one off the top of my head right now who hasn't gotten a skin in forever, but when a champion gets a new skin, it kind of feels like a breath of new life into that champion. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see where you're going.
Like the thing that happened with
So-
Lux when she got that skin. There was never a game that didn't
Exactly.
have a fucking Elementalist Lux skipping around the rift, you know?
Yep. And that's kind of what's cool about League of Legends at the same time is that skin was expensive. And how many people had that skin and still have that skin?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's just crazy how that can influence the game that way, just the skin. And that's That's all, like the skin meta is almost a thing, you know,
Yeah, the skin meta is a thing.
or
Absolutely.
the thing that
Everybody wants to
the-
go
the
try out
plot
their new
theory-
skins.
yeah.
And they're like, you know what? Yep, they're like, you know what? I've played Lux before. I want to play Lux again with the new skin that costed atrocious amounts of money that I just brainlessly shelled out to buy. But you know what? That's what's fun about it.
it's kind of that thing that people suspect Riot buffs champions right before they get a skin release, you know, just so get that concentration of funds. But
Absolutely. What are your favorite skins? Do you have any favorites?
oh god, I really did. Bioforge Darius was one I really liked before I got Dunk Master.
Mountain Dew Darius.
Mountain Dew Darius. That'll have to be a video someday. But
Absolutely.
I always
I
thought,
love Bear Cavalry Sejuani if we're going to the old skins.
yeah,
Bear Cavalry Sejuani was one of the first skins I ever bought, and it's just because I was like, I like Sejuani. She's this badass chick who's riding a boar, and she kills people, and she's a tank, and she's cool. And wait, she's riding a bear, and she's Russian. That's
See,
just
now
absolutely
my favorite skin, as of right now, it's a recent one, but it is definitely Santa Brom.
Santa Brom is so cool.
Santa Brom is
so
So
cool.
that's the
I
thing.
was just telling Brock the other day, we were watching it in an LCS match, and I said, Brock, that skin is so dope.
I love it. Just the call animation, the faster movement, like just everything about it. It just fits his character like so
It
well.
really does. It does. And that goes back to the lore and seeing, and Dragon Slayer Xin Zhao is cool. And honestly, Dragon Sorcerer Zyra, in my opinion, is a direct reference to StarCraft. Tad, can you support me on that?
Oh, you know what? I never made that connection, but I totally see it. Kerrigan. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I do feel like Voidwalker, or what is it? The Kassadin skin, I definitely feel like is Protoss Kassadin.
Oh
And
yeah.
then I think that the only one left is, some Space Marine.
I'm gonna
argue
Cosmic Reaver Cassidon.
Huh?
Cosmic Reaver Cassidon, so
Yes.
people know which
Yep,
one we're
yep.
talking about.
Exactly.
Protoss
Exactly.
Cassidon for sure.
Well, and I feel like those are really cool references to other games within this game, even if it's not on purpose. But
Mhm.
I think this one is undeniably Kerrigan, just because the overwhelming sense in the trailer is that if you watch the actual Dragon Slayer trailer, is Xin Zhao is kind of walking through, and there's this overwhelming force that is Zyra's little creatures that definitely feel like the Zerg. And then he goes and fights Zyra herself. And I just think that was super cool.
Yo, speaking of good skins, can we talk about Unmasked Kale?
Oh,
Because man, see this is, again, classic League of Legends.
that's kind of okay. That's kind of like
Kale, boom.
so. Like people say the wage gap is bad. The skin gap, that
Oh my god.
like the skin gap is where the real problems lie. Like
Well,
like
that being, I love control skins. Some of my favorite skins in the game are like Shamrock Malphite, where I just say 420 plays it in the beginning of the game because it's literally
Hello?
just Malphite,
Hello?
except he's green
Hey.
and he has
Oh.
Shamrock on
Hello?
him.
did
We on?
did we lose you, Ryder?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, man, I've been sitting here fidgeting with my computer for the last like 20 minutes.
I thought you were a little quiet, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I've been sitting here like screaming at you guys, just like giving my points, and I felt like I was a Southern lawyer, just not getting heard.
Oh,
This is another time to just put in another. Please, we need money for better equipment.
oh man.
Oh boy.
Monster bows,
Go fuck me.
beats. Come on, fam. I need some help. I need some loving from you.
Ryder,
Apple.
real quick to wrap up the skin discussion. Favorite skin, go.
Favorite skin? Oh, let's see here. I'm probably gonna have to go with the big-titted Misfortune one.
Oh,
I'm just a
I
fan
know,
of
I
her.
know exactly which one you're talking about. 'Cause
Yeah.
that is in all of them.
But I mean the really big titted one. I think it's her.
Oh,
I think it
the
might be- no, her
really
arcade
big
skin.
titted one.
Okay.
Her arcade skin,
Okay.
because just her bouncing around, man, those titties could fucking just
Yeah.
knock the bot lane just out of commission itself.
Either
I think
either
we're all
there's
waiting
some
for
12-year-old I bet there's some 12-year-old kid that plays bot lane. He sees a misfortune, and there's like, hold on, guys, I gotta go AFK for 5 minutes. Beats off in the corner.
I do think there will eventually be a day where we will see back surgery misfortune.
Why? That's like slapping God in the face.
Oh,
I think it's only a matter of time.
Back
right? If
surgery
you use that,
misfortune.
like all I ask is for a name in the credits.
she's wearing like gauze and she's hunched over.
Yeah, instead of saying like "don't get cocky," she just says, "I don't care what you do." Like,
Wait, hold on a second. Are you saying she becomes less of a person because she has less boobs? Is that what you're saying?
You got
You
left
sadistic
boob.
piece of shit.
Holy shit, Tad! We're trying to get sponsored
Oh,
here. We don't want to be. We don't
And
want
you're
to.
talking about how this woman is nothing without her boobs.
I mean, here's the deal. I never said that. You implied that.
Context.
Guys,
You
my question
implied
is,
that.
Hold on. Counteract here. It's 2017. Are we sure it's a woman?
Oh,
How do we know?
That's a good
How do we
point.
know?
Honestly, she can be whatever she wants to be, except meta. You know.
There you go.
Hey, I have been playing like solely misfortune bot.
Yeah.
It's just I just boop them, the
Yeah.
passive.
I guess that was
just
just a reference to the nerf they just slapped on her. It's kind of sad, but you know,
What, they
Uh,
nerfed her titties?
no. That
Oh.
that the titties get sales. Riot is not blind to that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, are we?
But
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
think we have really expanded way deeper into League of Legends than we wanted to this episode. But we had good conversation, so I'm okay with that. But just to kind of bring us back into a topic that we touched on in an earlier podcast, the first one to be specific, I want
You're
to
not my dad.
I want I want to swap into For Honor, and let me just say, what happened, man?
like
Was it another division?
I don't know. Like Tad, out of the four of us here, I'm pretty sure Tad's the only one who owns it, and I was hesitant because I had the questions in the beta, but I guess Tad, go ahead.
it's just like the main issue I had with the game is you were just constantly disconnecting, and because they didn't have dedicated servers, I forget what they they used the peer-to-peer system, and it was just like just so clearly just like a budget choice where they decided to like lowball the servers and not take them out to save money, and it just showed so well, and like it just showed in the final game, and it was like why
Yeah,
the other
go ahead.
I guess the other real complaint I had is that while I was trying out every hero and busy unlocking every hero and trying to get a feel for them, the matchmaking system in itself just felt very clunky, where I'd be playing like my Orochi or whatever, and I'd be like level 2, God, I forget what the prestige is called in the game, but
Just mastery for simple.
mastery, yeah, no mastery, and I'd be up against somebody with like, a 190 something item score, and his like mastery 3, and it's just like how I can't beat this guy because he's clearly just better than me at this person.
Are you saying that that this game is very item based? Like you have to be high level, you have to be high prestige, you have to have good items to be good at the game? Because for those people that just start out, aka Christmas noobs, as we all know and love them from Call of Duty,
Throwback.
like is that what it is?
No.
Is it not a fair playing field anymore?
Okay, the issue I think that it's not item based. Well, I guess there are items, but I guess from my experience, it was really mastery based and like skill, and people were really just spamming one hero or champion, whatever they're called in the game, one character,
And see,
and they would
that's
be.
where
yeah.
I would come
But
in.
can you
Tad.
just find their counter?
No, that's definitely like it's a reputation level, not a match. So And like, I understand that's definitely a way to play the game, and that's not the game's fault. It's just how people play the game, and arguably, it's the best way to play the game because they're winning, right?
Hmm.
I just,
And that's what I was just gonna say to you is
yeah.
you might not be over that trial period where you're trying to figure out which one you like the best, and
Well, I
maybe
definitely like.
eventually you're better at a variety of different heroes at the end, and they're still only as good as that one hero.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But that being said, I liked the gameplay. I liked the way that it played out in the beta, and I thought, you know what, this game is really cool. A lot of the gameplay is really polished, but it just didn't hook me. It didn't hook me like I need this game right now.
I
What do you
think
think about
And I think that
the
just comes down
longevity?
to I think I'm gonna play this for 10 hours and be done type
Uh-huh.
of thing.
I have 40 hours on it on Steam, which isn't a lot, but I think it's, I've experienced the game.
It's a good amount, and honestly, that's
Yeah.
that's even arguably $60 worth when you look at the value of $1.
Yeah, and I
See,
think
that-
yeah, I guess
That's what I was just gonna say. If I would not recommend it at the $60 price tag. If you can get it on sale for like 40, great pickup because a lot of the connection supposedly has been solved. And I should mention the item level or like the item difference really only matters in the Dominion game mode. So if you're gonna do the death match or the duels or the brawls, it doesn't matter. It just shows how much time and like they've invested in their that character, and it's like, oh well, great,
yeah,
Yep.
and I think
this is
So
this
the-
match.
I guess
What a-
Ryder was asking me, should I get this game? Like, dude, are we gonna hit up For Honor? And I'm playing the beta. I couldn't give him an answer, and I think really where I stood with the game is, and where I stand with a lot of games anymore is I just really not a huge proprietor of the $60 full release platform as much as I used to be, I guess.
I'm really not either, and that's
I was gonna say, if it's not the big next thing, if it's not the next Overwatch, it's not the next League of Legends, not the next when Call of Duty was good, I'm gonna say it, when it was in its prime. If it's not one of those, I feel like every other title just doesn't even stand a chance. And so I wonder if producers and game developers are even putting in the time, the effort, the drive that say Activision or Riot or Blizzard has had during their whole thing. So with the longevity of these games, like Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, I know that's huge. It's blowing up and everything. While on the flip side of Tom Clancy's stuff, his Division is failing horribly.
although
I mean, they
and-
just released that they were going to be dropping a free DLC trying to save it, and they reworked it, and it's still just not
you
getting
just
anywhere.
gotta be a little bit careful with the Tom Clancy things because those are all just stories based off of an author. Tom Clancy didn't actually make those games.
Hmm.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean, just
and
like the
and
brand,
I'm
though.
just explaining. Hold on, one second, because Siege is not developed by the same people as like the Division, if I
Oh, it
remember
isn't?
right.
I didn't know that.
I don't believe so.
No, I don't think so. I know Ubisoft publishes it, but
Well,
No.
I'm more saying like just any Tom Clancy thing, it either flops or makes it. Is my end
Well, and-
point.
Tom Clancy games in themselves are one of those really, really old IPs
mhm.
where they've had Rainbow Six Vegas and Rainbow Six Lockdown and all these different Rainbow Six games. And Rainbow Six Siege is actually a different spin on the game itself.
Hmm.
So it just kind of comes down to innovation and what they're trying and what works and what doesn't stick and what doesn't work. And the Division, I actually was never that hyped for that game. I didn't think it looked that interesting to me. I thought it looked like a realistic Destiny when what I wanted out of Destiny is what I got out of Destiny. And when it flopped, I wasn't that surprised. But again, that just comes down to I think the main problem with the Division was that it was just there was a lack of content, wasn't there? It wasn't quite what
Yeah,
they said
like
it was going to be.
what was for the beta, what was supposed to be released is what they promised for the release. We got like a fourth of the stuff that actually they showed in the beta. So
Yeah.
in a sense, the beta was a much more fuller game than the actual $60 release.
Yeah.
That's never a good thing.
No,
That's
it was
never
not.
a good thing.
It hurt the wallet, kind of hurt my pride.
Yep.
Because I thought that was going to be a thing to get me back into, the Tom Clancy, just get me back on the hype train. Because I remember playing on PS2, and there were some hit or misses on those. And I was like, this might save it. I might be back on the Tom Clancy hype train where I can actually, strongly say, yeah, I really enjoy anything that Tom Clancy's dropped lately. Fortunately, I'm still on the opposite hype train of that, saying I can't get behind anything that has the Tom Clancy name on it. Like Wildlands.
I think
I won't go
Wildlands
near
looks
it.
like a lot of fun though.
I played
that
the
actually looks like
I
a
played the
looked
beta
fun.
for I played the beta for Wildlands, and I mean the map is huge. I think there's enough to do in there that'll keep you busy for a long time.
I think it's
haven't-
one of those games that you can just fuck around with friends on. I don't. It's not
Yeah.
a competitive type of game at all.
I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but I'm debating it.
And that's just the thing about games is the $60 price tag almost scares away a lot of people these days, and it's just a lot more of a risk to try a $60 game than it is to try a $20 game. Just shoot. I don't know. People are a lot more willing to give a game that's like an indie game, or indie game is a bad example, but like a game that's free to play, like League of Legends, and bridging into those
indie game
formats.
is not a bad example, Scott. Do you remember when indie games became a thing? It's right around the release of the Xbox One and the PS4. Indie games started exploding because all of a sudden they just became more, developers became more accepting to them, and they started to try to push them out because they understood that the buyer didn't want to pay $60 for every game.
Yeah.
And here's my chance. Here's my chance to talk about Undertale because, like, I mean, that
Oh,
game,
no!
got, like, yeah.
Before we let Tad dive into his 7 hours of Undertale, I'm just going to have to be saying here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to be wrapping up here. This has been Powerful Pony, Mad Jack Madsen, BK Wappa, and Wild Cucumber. Guys, it has been an honor. It's been so much fun here, even though half my equipment didn't work most of the time. Sorry for you viewers. Just skip around until you hear my voice. Anyway, guys, until next time, I will catch you later.
Pony, thanks for coming on, man. Good having you. All right.
Thank you.
All right, but Tad, all right, we're gonna be cautious here, but
I was saying
It would honestly be fun to have a cast about indie games that I would like to throw some stuff into here as well. But talk about Undertale, but just keep a cap on it, buddy. Keep a cap on it. Just let a little bit of your excitement out.
I just there was whatever year it was, 2015, I believe it was released, and like it was up there against all these, being compared to all these like AAA titles for best sound and like just best story, game of the year, stuff like that, where it's just like the small, like I think 2 people worked on it or something.
Yep.
And it was like and
I think
everybody.
I think it was all Toby Fox, wasn't it?
Toby Fox did a lot of it. I know he had an artist named, I don't know, it's Temmie something on Twitter. I don't remember,
Okay.
but like that did some sprites and stuff. But
Gotcha.
here we go. I just found all the nominations it got in 2015. Maybe it got nominated for Game Award for it got best, or nominated for best role playing game, best independent game, best story, and games for change. And like I don't remember what I remember for something like there was Pillars of Eternity and just all these other like big hyped up games that everybody knew about. And then it was like Undertale, like what
the fuck is Undertale?
Yeah, but it's a great game. I don't know how much it is. It's worth whatever it is.
$10 not on sale.
It's worth that.
Oh, it's
you're looking for a
definitely
good-
worth $10.
If you're looking for a good ass
$10 on it
story,
again.
I mean, yeah, I mean, all you gotta do is look at the reviews, and
It's a
Yo.
very, very good game.
yeah, it's worth
Made
it.
by an indie developer that wasn't out to necessarily make millions.
No, it was a Kickstarter project, and the Kickstarter project was Undertale. Was it a role playing game where nobody has to get hurt or something? And
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and it's it drew a lot of its inspiration from old games like Earthbound, and in that
Yep.
style of RPG, and those are fantastic as well if you feel like playing any old games. But yes,
What? I think we let Tad.
indie games are on the rise.
That's true.
Yeah, I had my fun.
Speaking of indie games, is the Nintendo Switch actually just a platform for those because that's how cheap the release has been by Nintendo? I don't know.
I don't know. Nintendo's had a goofy Western release for the last couple years. I mean, the Wii was released and everybody jumped on it. Everybody was just all over the Wii.
Those
And
motion
then
controls, that was new. Like we were
Exactly.
like, whoa, I
And then
can
it just-
pull.
Yep. And then it just kind of faded out once they kind of understood that a lot of the games were based off of kind of not a cheap gimmick, but an innovative gimmick that wasn't quite ready.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because the Wii Motion Plus or whatever, that add-on you could buy for your controller, it was basically like, I don't remember what it was marketed as, but everyone received it as like, buy it, like spend $20 extra on this, and the Wii remote will do everything we told you it was going to do originally. And
exactly. Yep. And Nintendo has done that before with like memory and whatnot with like the Nintendo 64, the Rumble Pack,
Hmm.
Yep.
and the extended memory so that you could play Donkey Kong 64. You actually had to buy an outside piece of the Nintendo 64 just to play those more graphically demanding games, which is just interesting, and it's kind of a way that computers have, or that graphics have evolved over time.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that being said, I'm not sure about the Switch. I'm sure I'll purchase one in the near future. In Nintendo's defense is they actually released it at a very fair price point of $300, in my opinion.
Oh, really? It's only
They
300.
Oh yeah, it's only 300 compared to like the Xbox One and the PS4 releasing
At 500.
I guess
at 500.
the thing I noticed that seemed like that, or I guess where I would kind of counter argue that a little bit, is like if you wanted any extra, like the Pro controller or the like motion control sticks or anything like that, they were $80 a pop.
Yeah,
And so
that's a pretty gross price point. I was
Yeah.
just going to do that as well.
uh-huh.
But the docking system, it seems really cheaply made. The docking system itself doesn't have a
the
lot
screen-
of padding, and the screen is
the
easily.
screen most of the time for like mobile stuff like that, they'll use Gorilla Glass, I believe, and the screen's plastic and it scratches and just coming in and out of the docking system in some cases.
That's just disastrous.
I think the thing everyone probably knows about it by now, but the thing that really just kind of made me like, I was going to get one and then none of our local stores had it and I couldn't find it on Amazon, and now I'm glad I didn't get it, but it was like,
Yep.
I guess I'll just wait. But like when Nintendo released that, when people were complaining about dead pixels and Nintendo released that dead pixels weren't a defect, that they knew that was going to happen and it's not a defect. It's just like, what? Like
Nintendo.
that's a defect, man. Like
Nintendo's like that family member who used to be great, then he kind of veered off the path, and you love him because they've been with you forever and you grew up with them and they had some great times, but every time they try to come back, you just see bits and pieces missing, and it's like, come on, Nintendo, you can't do that.
exactly.
Well, and overall, their release titles are very underwhelming, except for one game. That game being Zelda, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, which I'm so sad, so very sad to say I have yet to play.
I don't think any of us have
I
played
don't
it.
have a Wii U.
No,
Yep.
I might get
I
it.
don't
for
have a Wii U and I don't have a Nintendo Switch, so it's becoming a balancing act of, do I take the risk and buy the Nintendo Switch and bank on more good stuff coming out for it, or do I take a step back and try to purchase another Wii U just so I can play the new Zelda game?
I don't remember which thread I read it on, but there was a very highly upvoted post that was saying like, buy a Switch and Breath of the Wild, play it like like play it for the 30 days or whatever the return policy is, and then return the Switch
Return.
because there's nothing else worth playing.
Yep. And that
That's
being
an
said, they
idea.
do have Mario on the roster. They are bringing Mario Kart back. Like, there's gonna be games for it, but Nintendo has never done a launch successfully. I shouldn't say never, because the Wii was an awesome launch, right?
Yeah.
But there's nothing else to play. You've got a game that is a solid 10 out of 10 from everybody, right? And everybody is pretty much in agreement. Like, this game's fucking awesome, you know?
Mhm.
But it's the only game that's
That's
fucking
it.
awesome. And you can only play one game for so long before it gets boring, unless it's called League of Legends. But, you know, crack is different from
Some would
drugs, you know?
disagree. Yeah.
crack isn't addictive. Oh, that'll be the title of the episode. Crack is not addictive. Sponsor us.
Sponsor us.
Crack
We need
dealers.
more clickbaity titles, actually.
Yeah, more
Yo, I
thumbnails.
tried that with thumbnails, and I got shot down.
Oh,
Well, you couldn't. We're not even.
Yo,
We're not,
put the
not even
thumbnail on
going to
the
go
screen.
into that.
I'm
Put
gonna
the thumbnail on the screen.
I'm gonna stop you right there. The content tops are here and they are wailing.
Oh boy.
Oh, I think we're over the hour mark at this point. If not, we're rapidly approaching. I think this has been. I think we're coming around the end of it. I guess to kind of give you guys an idea of what to expect from us in the future, we are looking to get expand out to more games rather than just League of Legends. I don't know. We've touched on it in later episodes, but League of Legends is the game. That being said, it's not the only game, and in fact, specifically, we really want to do an Overwatch-centric episode, and maybe that'll be coming up with Season 4 kicking off in the competitive atmosphere for Overwatch. We really want to hone in on that. Bailey mentioned doing indie games, and maybe we can delve into that more, but I think we are definitely interested in getting into different games. If you guys have anything that you would like us to cover, leave us a comment. Heck, if you made it this far in the video, let's leave. I don't know what should be the comment that they leave in the video. They leave in the comment section, showing they listened this long. Bailey uses camera lock. That's what it should be.
That's
Oh
it. That's
my
perfect.
God.
Oh,
my
man,
God.
we almost made it through the whole podcast without mentioning it.
Oh.
Oh God, I was worried.
Actually, you know what, Scott? That's the last thing we have to check off the list. So,
All right,
Oh, my
I think that's
goodness.
a great point to end on. Thaddeus, Bailey, I'll let you guys do your sign off quick.
as always,
See you later. Camera lock isn't a bad thing. Fuck everyone. Fuck everything.
Tad.
thanks for tuning in, loyal listeners. As always, this has been Thaddeus, aka the master of all things memes.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you very much for watching. This has been Mad Jack, and thanks for watching the Quad Mid podcast. And don't forget to sponsor us.
Crack dealers.
What do you guys think? Sellouts? Too much sellout? Or
Oh,
Yeah, I
dude,
mean-
always.
Sell out.
Every
Sell out, like,
always sell out? Always sell out, bro.